This is the longest that this is the longest
that you've been on?
that I've streamed like that. So I have no idea, but we lost all the viewers and everything. Hopefully they come back.
Really? Did you say people had some questions, or Paula mentioned about some questions?
Well, though, yeah, I read everything. Nobody's really been. They've been making like comments agreeing with you and this and that, but I lost all that too because this is a whole new stream.
Any hatred?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
really?
no, no,
Just
no,
friends.
no, no, no. Nobody
Well,
said
this is
anything.
some pretty controversial stuff. I don't want to piss anybody off.
Well, but that's what the truth does, you know. And
I know it does. I know. Listen, I love my liberal friends. I do. I'm very libertarian, but some of the things they've been saying lately are just insane. Just crazy stuff. The defund thing. It's like, you're going in the wrong direction with that. I totally believe in policing reforms and accountability, and cops need to stop doing the horrible crap they're doing. But the mindset that you're not going to have any police, when you and I both know that the worst parts of the hood, the first thing they do is they call the cops when they're getting raped and murdered and robbed. Did you see that girl that said that if crime is happening to you and you call the police, it's coming from your white privilege? Did you see that?
yes, I saw that. I
Oh my
saw the
God!
the the BLM. There's so much shit going on. The BLM leader that's out there talking about defund the police, yet she has private security. You know what I mean?
Right?
It's
Yeah. Well, I'm watching this woman, and she's white, by the way, but she's a BLM person, and she's saying, and the guy says to her, "Well, what if someone's breaking into your home at 3 o'clock in the morning with a knife?" She said, if you call the police, that's coming from your white privilege. And instead of pushing back and going, so what do? Psychopath? You just let the guy rape and murder you so you don't have white privilege? How is a woman asking for help at 3 o'clock in the morning while an intruder's breaking into her home coming from her white privilege? And you don't think minorities make that phone call? I mean, this is just, it's insanity. They don't want you
well,
having
then
people defend
you
yourself
just
in
had
public, right?
you had a psychiatrist, right? That just
Yeah.
came out and made a
I
statement
saw her.
that yeah,
I
you
saw
saw
her.
that statement about coming out
Yeah.
and she would be doing the world a favor. She had a dream,
Yeah.
like a dream
Dreams about killing white people.
about
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shooting up the
dreams about.
white walking up and just
Yeah,
shooting white people. Come on,
I
man.
hate them so much. And then she comes back and says, "Oh, you took everything I said out of context." No,
Right.
that was absolutely. You couldn't get more context if you tried.
Of course you took it out of
There's no
context.
more.
Now
There's no
what if
more.
I said that
Yeah.
about the other people? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
listen, you and I both know if you had come out and said, "I had a dream. I want to kill all the black people. I hate the black people. They should all die." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You would be excoriated and probably prosecuted.
No
So,
question with a hate
but
crime.
but see, that's what I mean by that animus that's taking place in here now. People are seeing that. Like I saw that and that infuriated me. She's a beautiful, intelligent woman, and she's saying horrible, monstrous things. And by the way, just so you know, genetically, people of Iranian and those specific Persian and Farsi Middle Eastern bloodlines, you know who they are genetically? They're European. You can look it up. They're a European bloodline. It's the same bloodline. It's the same bloodline as the Chaldeans, which traces back to the same bloodline as the Germanics. So these people don't even know who they are genetically. It's like Andrea Ocasio Cortez's bloodline. If you actually go look up her family online, she's got Spanish blood and she's got European blood. She's basically white, and Spaniards come from a European line, the same line you find in Italy, exact same bloodline, and it's a European bloodline. So while she's screaming white, 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 white all day long, when she was young, she called herself Sandy from the Block. That was her nickname, Sandy from the Block. And she listened to the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Her whole history is out there for anybody who wants to go look her up. Oh, this whole militant, guerrilla mama thing she's doing now, it's all garbage. She
Yeah.
didn't do any of that until she got into poli sci in school, and now she's pretending this is this warrior she's always been, and it's not. She's total fake. And then you saw about where her mom's living.
No.
So her mom's living in this ramshackle hellhole in is it Guatemala or El Salvador? If you look it up online, it'll come right up. Ocasio's mom. She lives in this horrible, broken down shack. And she actually has said it's Donald Trump's fault. My mom lives in this shithole because he supposedly cut off some kind of funding. Well, it turned out no, he did not cut off the funding she was talking about. That was a lie. But she's worth millions of dollars, and she's blaming Donald Trump because her own mother lives in a filthy shack. Wait. You are worth millions of dollars. Why doesn't your mother have a nice home? God, even a rapper buys his mom a nice home. What are you doing? I mean, you're a monster. That's insanity. It's Donald Trump's fault my mom lives in a shithole. That's what she actually said. No, it's your fault because you're not helping your mom. That's just crazy. That's crazy talk.
And
She
that's
should be
and
screaming
that's
bloody murder about that.
and that's where we're at. That's where we're at today. Is we
Yeah.
blame everybody else. It's everybody else's
Right.
fault. You know, everything
Yep.
else is. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm perfect. I want to live
Right.
my my unisex life and not
Right.
have to say that I'm a boy, not have to say that I'm a girl, and I don't want anybody to
Oh
tell me
yeah.
anything other than the fact
Yeah.
that I'm great. That's
Yeah.
it.
According to Google now, there are 58 genders.
Yep.
58 as of last week. There are 58 genders. 50. You just apparently can just make up anything and call it a gender now. And I'm seeing commercials where the Discovery commercial where for those who were assigned female at birth, assigned like it's something they pass out in a classroom or something. Hey, listen, you're going to be a girl. You're going to be a guy. I've assigned you a gender. This has gotten again. We have the left saying we're the party of science, and a fetus is not a living human being, and a man is not a man, and a girl is not a girl, and you have to wear a mask, even though the CDC themselves said, and Dr. Fauci said masks don't work. In fact, as late as a few months ago, he wrote an email saying masks are useless. And but we're following the science, and now you got to vaccinate kids that don't need the vaccine and don't get the disease, and it just goes on and on and on. You're not obviously the party of science; you're the party of anti-science. And the Republicans, who used to get ragged on for being the creationists who didn't believe in dinosaurs, now they're the ones saying science, science, science all day. So for me, being my age, to see that division is just it's like it's sad and
Listen,
funny at the same
have
time.
you heard? Listen, have you heard
Yeah.
about the Blues Clues?
Why do I know what that is? I've heard that somewhere.
Okay, so Blues Clues is a children's cartoon, right?
Oh yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
ages 3 to 5, right?
Yeah, it's a
Now,
PBS thing or something.
right? Okay, and it's
Yeah,
huge. It's huge. Now I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
play, right? I'm going to play this. Let me pull it up for the people, man, and put it on. And let me see if I can do this pretty easy. If I can't, I'll just send a link because I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I want you to hear it and I want to get your comment on it. So I'm not going to
Okay.
it's too much work for me to go in here and try to do it. I don't want to lose anything. So I'm just going to play it. People probably
Okay.
heard it by now.
All right.
And hold on, let me see if I can get it to. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Yes, again.
Listen.
Hi, families! It's time for a pride parade. Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. This family has two mommies. They love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Families marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. This family has two daddies. They love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Come on, friends. Families marching three by three, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching three by three, hurrah, hurrah. He's Papa's are non-binary. They love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Families marching four by four, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching four by four, hurrah, hurrah. Trans members of this family all love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Come join the fun. Families marching.
Okay, that's enough of that, but you get the idea. So,
Oh my. Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful. Some studies have recently come out talking about the trans issue, and I don't think people understand what's really happening here. Genetically, there is a condition. It's incredibly rare. You can research it, where every once in a while you will have the hermaphroditic state, for example, where a person has the genitals of a male and female. Even then, they will have an identity that's very clearly identifiable by the time they're very young. They will, on their own, without being coached by anybody, identify as male or female. What's happening right now is you have kids. It's almost like a fad, being drawn into this thing and being told, maybe you're not who you think you are. Maybe you're this, maybe you're that. Not realizing the hell that lies ahead of them when they walk into this world. And I just watched an interview with a gentleman a while ago. Um, Again, he was on Fox, who was told when he was young that he may very well be a girl. So he decides to transition to a girl. And his life has been a 20 to 30 year hell of surgeries and medications and confusion and people telling him this and telling him he's that. And the fact is, he was just a very susceptible kid. Now he's finally realized he's a man, but guess what? His penis is gone and his testicles are gone, and he has the scars from the breast implants. He has massive damage to his body from flooding it with enormous amounts of the wrong hormones. Again, it's infuriating for people who believe in this subject so fiercely it's become a religion to look at the science. But it's become so easy now for a child to say to a counselor, "I'm having a problem." They go, "Oh well, you're probably another gender.
Yep.
You're probably so let's get you set up right now and start pouring drugs into your body." And to me, it is an abomination of science to put those kinds of drugs into a child because you are going to cause horrendous harm to the child. Now, again, what an adult does with their body and a clear, cogent mind is a very different thing. We don't let you drive till you're a certain age. We don't let you drink till you're a certain age. We don't let you buy a gun or vote or enter the military till you're a certain age. But you can decide at 4 that you're a girl when you're a boy.
Right.
And
But
will
you know
cut
that you
off
want a
body
sex
parts.
change. Come
Right.
on, man.
We will cut
Stop
off
it.
body parts. We will sew on body parts, and we will pour drugs into you that will massively distort who you are. Now, what we don't know right now is the long-term effects of these insane drug protocols because this is very new. In my day, there were sex changes available. I believe it was Sweden was famous for doing them, like the first place. Sweden or Switzerland was the first place to do them. It was
Yeah.
very controversial. And they basically just took a man, they gave him hormones, and they created a fake vagina. But it's gone to the other end now, where we're cascading the bodies of young children with enormous amounts of the wrong hormones. Now, we have hormone receptors in our body. I'm sorry, people, this is a genetic fact. It's not up to your decision. It's not your personal choice. You don't get to select your chromosomes, your DNA, your genes. You have receptors in the body that receive specific types of hormones. So men have a larger number, of course, of hormone receptors for testosterone. And in men, feminizing hormones interfere with testosterone and cause horrendous side effects. When men get older, testosterone is converted to feminizing hormones like estradiol, and we have horrible prostate problems. So guess what happens to transgendered men who turn themselves into women? They flood their bodies with these hormones, and you ruin the prostate, and you ensure horrible prostate problems and likely serious prostate cancer. We're going to see a massive rise of that. Now you have to take prostate medications just to urinate because they don't remove the prostate.
How does the
They remove
prison?
prostate.
How does the prison deal with that?
Well, we have a policy that recognizes the transgendered. The problem is, I might have mentioned this to you before, inmates in here use it as a hustle. So we have a guy here right now, his name is, we'll call him Russ. And he's pretending he's transgendered. He's not. He's just a homosexual male, and that's fine. That's his business. And he has what are called in prison sissies or girls. These are obviously homosexual men who play the feminine role. The problem is this guy is claiming he's a transgendered individual who's actually a woman, except he only engages in masculine affirming behaviors. So he exercises and gets tattoos, and he talks like a guy, and he acts tough, and he's the bull in the relationship, and, these are my bitches, and it's all fake. But he tells the psychs here, that's the psychiatric staff, that he's transgendered, and that gets him a single cell, which is, some guys want a single cell. So he's like, oh, I'm a rape victim, and I'm a transgendered woman. Now he has a cell to himself. But in the meantime, they're watching him every day play the role of a male. He's not taking female hormones. He's not trying to get breast implants. He's not wearing nylons. He's not doing anything they're allowed to do. He's not even fighting for those things. He's just using it as a scam. It's a protection scam. Staff have to watch over him so he can say whatever he wants to somebody and then snitch on anybody and get them locked up because he's, protected class. So in this instance, it's completely fake. Now, we have another person that I know who sincerely believes that he's a woman. He's actually fighting for the hormones. He wants the breast surgery. He's a very masculine individual, very big, very large, very masculine individual. But he's very open about his homosexuality, and he's convinced that he's a woman, and he's actually fighting, and he's actually beginning treatment and things. Now he's on his way home, so he'll continue that in the world. So in prison, it is recognized in Michigan, but for most of the guys that are doing it, and there's another guy, we'll call him Devil. It's kind of like what his nickname is. He's also faking it. He has another nickname, Wolf. Yeah, he's faking it completely. 2 years ago, he was the head Satanist in the NDOC. Then he decided he was a transgendered woman. So prisoners are able to use it as a hustle, like so many other things, and get things for themselves. If they're homosexuals, they can get special protections and feminine hygiene products and all these crazy things they couldn't normally get just by being homosexual. So it's really a hustle and a scam in here, and we have very few numbers of those that are sincere about it, that are actually fighting for the transition. It's mostly just to get the stuff that they want. It's kind of like we have people pretending to be certain religions because they want the benefits of the religion. The same thing's happening with that. We have some guys that are absolutely sincere Muslims, and sincere Jewish prisoners and sincere Buddhist prisoners and so on. And we have some that use it as a hustle because they want incense or special meals or the clothing or whatever it might be. So the same thing happens, but in both cases, there's a mild recognition of the right, whether it's the religious right or the transgender right. But I've only seen myself in all my years 2 individuals that I think were sincerely convinced this is who they were, and of course they're adults making this decision too, not children. But to me, what's happening with children is an absolute abomination. Again, I don't believe in telling anybody what to do, but when you're doing something like this to a child, a child who's not allowed to make any decisions for themselves. Christ, the parents control what kind of music they can listen to. And yet the kid can go, yeah, I want to be a girl. And if the parent were to say no, you actually have a court hearing, you could lose your child. I mean, this is insanity.
Well, that's what's insane about the Blues Clues, episode is you it's you're manipulating children's minds by making this look like it's fun. It's fun. Everybody's doing it. Everybody loves one another, and there's no explanation behind why people think that way. And of course, a child could never understand that, but it's so.
Hey, listen, we have to be honest here about something, Thomas, and listeners too. I hope you'll agree and not be offended. This is fake science. Just a couple years ago, this wasn't even a thing. See, this is what we do in this country. Everything becomes a thing. There's a new thing. There were
A label.
no 58 genders 10 years ago. Yeah,
Everything becomes a label.
10 years ago. Yeah, nobody was binary 10 years ago. Nobody even used people go Google the word binary in its relation to sexual identification. This is garbage. This is new garbage being made up, and every day it's a new gender, and it never stops. So you have people that have absolute medical issues. That's one thing. Then you have a bunch of messed up kids that are just creating crazy identifications for themselves and then saying to you, you must not only honor this, but do everything I say you have to do because of it. Workplaces are making employees identify themselves by pronouns. This is the height of ludicrousy. When you have to keep your job, you have to identify yourself as, oh, my pronouns are he and him and his. Really? How about the fact that I'm a giant, muscle-bound, tattooed Viking, and you can probably tell that I'm not identifying as a woman? I'm a grizzled, old, biker-looking guy. But to keep my job, I have to sign all my letters. If I'm in this free world of this business, I have to sign all my letters, he, him, and his. Now you know who I am. I mean, once again, this is crazy. This is. I mean, I remember growing up thinking, hey,
how are
Tracy? I don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
How is the general population of prison? Like, how are prisoners looking at us as citizens, and what are they thinking inside? What are they saying about us? There was a question.
There's a lot of inmates that have been locked up. They think the world's going insane.
Well,
they really do. They see this. Yeah.
The
kids that come in here are a mess. They are so messed up.
So there was a question. There was a question on social media that somebody wanted me to ask you that just popped in my head, but they wanted to know what the black inmates, if you can tell, as much as you know, but
Well, I work with the black community probably more than anything, just because of the work that I do.
the legal work, right? So what is the general consensus behind this? The administration making Juneteenth federal holiday now?
I did a little research on Juneteenth. I have to be honest, I didn't know a lot about it. I understood what it represented. I don't have a problem with Juneteenth, for example. I don't see a bunch of guys here even acknowledging Juneteenth because it's kind of like, for them it's like, really, that's what you're doing, like a day, no more slavery, yay. I don't think for them it's that big of a deal. I did see a great debate, though. I did watch a really great debate that every time we create one of these federal holidays, it costs the nation like $660 million for that day in lost labor and expenses and so on. I thought that was pretty unique because there was a debate on C-SPAN in the House about the Juneteenth bill, and a couple of politicians said, "I don't have a problem. I'm going to sign this bill. I absolutely support this. But every time we create one of these holidays, and you guys just create more and more holidays, Lily Ledbetter Day or whatever it is, every time you do this, it's costing the country an average of $660 million a day. That's a lot of money for the poor in programs and jobs. And it's because when we make these holidays, we exempt people from work. And so it seems like what we should be doing is creating the holidays, but cutting this work nonsense out. Because it's really costing it. The 660 million, just so you know, is not what it costs businesses. It's what it costs the United States government in losses alone.
Mm.
So nobody really cared so much about that holiday as much as they care about this. And we talk about this all the time. The complete lack of the criminal justice reforms we've been fighting for and I guess rioting for the last 2 years. That's infuriating to everyone. We are not passing. When Biden came in, everyone knows the first thing he did was the whole transgender student athlete thing.
Mm-hmm.
The brand new president of the United States, the man who was going to undo everything that Trump did and save the nation, unite us all together, did one of the most divisive things he could have possibly done his very first day in office. And people, whatever your faith and your persuasion, and I am friends with everybody, that was wrong because already male athletes have started to identify as females and are breaking records all around the country. They're taking every woman's record in everything, track, tennis, weightlifting, you name it, they're doing it. That is not fair. I watched two transgendered men, identifying as women, who are two of the track people stealing everybody's records, say, well, what are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? Well, then have a transgender category. I'm fine with that. We have Special Olympics because they can't compete with an Olympic athlete. It's not denigrating. It's an amazing, incredible, blessed thing. I have a deaf son. I support Special Olympics. I donate to Special Olympics. Give the transgender athletes a chance to compete in a fair category. But destroying women's sports when women fought so hard to secure their rights, when we established federal titles to make sure they got proper funding for sports, when we started fighting so that women got better pay because they weren't being treated the same as pro-male athletes, we've now thrown all that in the garbage. That's what we're doing to this country. We're doing that. giving them special loans. There are a lot of African Americans who have amazing talent that can't get a break, and I mean I see it in here too. I see amazing talent in this place.
Man, I had the mute
And
on
I
the
don't
whole
think most of
time,
these guys.
T.
Yeah,
I
pardon me.
I had the mute on, man. When the cast restarted, when I restarted, I had the mute on. I'm glad I looked at my phone. I seen Paula. She's like, "Hey, hello,
All
you're
this time,
muted." Yeah,
all this time we've been muted.
not the whole conversation, but from when the stream stopped. Remember when I told you the stream stopped and I restarted it?
Okay.
The fucking thing was muted,
Was it off?
man.
Was it off just a minute ago?
Maybe about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
About 5 minutes or
So,
so.
but I do agree with you though. We absolutely need to do something, and I'm absolutely fine with that too. You know, that's. But again, we just got to stop teaching the hate and teaching kids hate in school. That's crazy. Teach the kids real history, but don't do it in a hateful way. You know, and I think, and I talked about this when I spoke to you last time. What you have to do is not teach people to hate each other. Praise the benefits. Say, look what African Americans have done. Look what Asian Americans have done, or the culture in general. Look at the beauty of their craft, their art, their music, their food. You know, the African cloth making. I mean, amazing the stuff they do on the looms. You know, all these things should be given to kids to say, hey, they're just as good as you. They're not inferior in any way. They might be different. They have different things they do in their culture than you. They might eat different food than you. It doesn't make them less. And here's all the wonderful things they brought to our culture, the wonderful things they have in their culture. Um, as much as it seems like I was beating up on China, I mentioned I love Chinese culture. The Chinese people are amazing. Their sense of family is unbelievable. You know, they don't have a lot of retirement homes in China because they take in their elders. They don't put them in homes, leave them to die.
No, yeah,
So
China's a very
yeah,
disciplined, a very, very
yeah,
disciplined country.
absolutely, yeah. They take in their elders, and the same in Japan too. They have enormous respect for their elders, and you know we don't have that in America. We just toss them in these horrible homes and leave them there to, you know, stare at a little TV screen until they die. So that's, you know, so they're ahead of us in many ways, and the way they use technology is amazing, but there are things about China that we absolutely don't want America to be a part of. And we have the power in this country to make China change without violence. But we're not doing that because there's too many profit incentives. China wants basketball. If the NBA said, you know what, why don't you stop gang raping and murdering the Uyghurs? China would instantly stop because they want NBA teams, because they want the best basketball players in the world over there, because basketball is huge in China. And the fact is they wanted to see African American players over there going up against Chinese players. And so, you know, the NBA had a chance. Apple had a chance. You know, there are a lot of companies in China that China really wants there, like Coke. And they had a chance. And they said, no, we'll just do whatever you want, China. And China said, okay, first rule, ready? Can't comment on our human rights ever, including in America. You can't even speak on it. Number two, you have to give us all of your formulas and all of your secrets. You have to build all your stuff over here and pay us and hire only our workers. And then you have to, if you want to bring any experts over, they can come over, but then you got to train our guys to be experts. You can't have your experts working over here, which is one of the rules they have in China. You have to leave and come back to America after you train them to be your experts. And then when you go, if you leave, you have to leave all the equipment and all the technology behind. So why are we doing that? Because we're greedy. It's that simple. We're greedy. No
Yeah.
other reason. We're not afraid of China yet. We're just greedy. And
Well,
they
T,
feed
we've
off our greed.
we've covered China, we covered COVID, we
Yeah.
covered
Prison.
solitary confinement, we've covered you, we've covered the CIU, we've covered transgenders, we've covered what else have we covered, partner? Oh, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Vaccine.
We've
Pardon me?
covered the vaccine. What do you
Yeah.
think about all of the release of the UFO information?
Okay, so my friends are going to love this. I am a huge believer, and I have been since I was a child. I had an experience when I was young with a telescope, watching the sky, and I watched a craft darting all over the sky. It absolutely was not anything of ours. It was not a meteor because it was moving left and right and tracking across the horizon. I had a friend of mine with me, a guy named Mike Anderson, as a witness. We sat there in awe, screaming and yelling until my mother came outside to watch this thing. We probably watched it for a good at least 5-10 minutes. It was incredible, and that was it. I couldn't get enough. I was reading, I was studying, and with all the videos we have now, we know there's something there. I will say this: I'm very disappointed. They promised to tell us something in June. I didn't believe they were going to, And you saw what the government said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the game. Here's the game now. The government admits the videos are real. They admit the stuff isn't ours. And what's the first lie that Pentagon tells us? Well, it's not ours. And we don't have any technology like that, but it could be China or Russia. So you think China and Russia have hyperspeed technology that can bend the laws of physics? That's what you think. And you're telling me that every time one of these things comes around one of our ships, our vessels, our planes, we film it and we don't fire on it, but it might be Chinese or Russian in American airspace. That's what you think. You think China and Russia might be flying hyperspace, hyperspeed, physics-bending technology around every country in the world, and nobody's launching anything at it. No one's trying to shoot it down. No one's trying to capture it. You fly a spy plane over Russia, and to this day they will try and shoot it down. But we're not trying to shoot these things down. People, if you believe that, well, I've got a bridge to sell you, because that's insanity. Obviously, the government now admits these videos are legit.
But why
see
now?
the technology there.
Why now? Why are they releasing all this information now?
Because there's too much, and what's happening right now is, in fact, there's some great videos online. Gunship pilots, fighter pilots now, are using their iPhones to film things. So they have a camera on the front, they have a FLIR system with a forward-looking infrared, and it has a variety of capabilities. It can detect heat and cold and so on, energy signatures and the like. And it has an enormous range on it also. And of course, if you've seen the videos, it can track. But these guys are pulling out their iPhones now and getting incredible footage of these craft, much better than what we're seeing on those gun cameras. Because those gun camera videos are going back to the government, who then gives us back whatever they let us have. So these guys are taking iFilm footage. If you guys just go online and watch the video of the craft in Greece, I think it's around 2017, you're going to see something the size of a football stadium, a ship hanging in the clouds, tilting down to almost vertical, and it looks like it's having engine failure, basically, tilting back up into the cloud line. It was filmed by like 40 people on a jet for an enormous amount of time. I mean, obviously, this is not a mirage. It's not Venus. It's not swamp gas. It's not some stealth.
It's not a weather balloon.
The U.S. government that we don't know about. Yeah, it's not a weather balloon. This is idiocy, people. We're being lied to.
And what I think the release of all of this information now again is distractions. You know, it's something to keep the people focused on something other than what's relevant. You know.
And they promised to tell us, and then they lied to us. We all waited for this big report to come out in June, even though I had said they're not going to tell us jack. Because here's the real truth. We know from what we know from the thousands of military personnel and politicians and law enforcement and scientists that have been involved in this work and that have spoken on these subjects and worked on these military bases, that our government has probably been in, for lack of a better term, cahoots with something out there for a long, long time. What more than likely happened is we were approached at some point, and somebody with technology far beyond ours, and here's the rules of engagement, okay? You're not going to talk about this. We're going to share a few things with you. You're not going to tell the public about us. If you tell the public about us, something really bad is going to happen. And a friend of mine said to me, well, what would happen? Well, let's say you're an alien race with super technology. Now the government says, yeah, we've worked with these guys for 70 years. What do you think the world would do? And I don't mean there's no fear anymore. Everybody knows there's something out there. They used to tell us years ago, oh, it would destroy religion, there'd be riots in the streets. No, that's garbage. What it turns out is they'd be very mad at the aliens. It would be, you've been coming here for thousands of years, and you haven't helped us cure cancer. You haven't given us an alternative energy source. My mother died of a brain tumor. You could have fixed that? You guys live forever? Really? You live to be 20,000, 30,000 years old? You could help us solve all of our problems. And we would want that, and we would demand that. And we would be furious they didn't do that. Then we'd be demanding to tell the government, you took all this crap from them to make your little weapons and your little toys and your little monitors and your stealth technology and whatever else, and you didn't ask them for a cure for heart disease or childhood diseases.
Oh, they did. I'm sure they did. And I'm sure if anyone of importance, if anyone of the 1% was to catch any of that, they probably have a hospital where aliens come and visit. You know,
well,
who knows?
Thank you. That's my next point. I have to absolutely believe that certain people in power are being blessed by this technology in this context. Just to give you an example, Dick Cheney is one of the most jacked up, out of shape people in the world. The guy's had like, what, five heart attacks? No, seriously. He's a freaking physical train wreck. How is he still alive?
Why those two
survived it.
people? Why are the aliens gonna keep
Well,
those two people alive?
it's not so much them as I think there's some kind of a promise to the elites. Think, people, when's the last time you saw any really famous, powerful person die from a more common disease at a young age? It just almost never happens. And it's not the level of medical care, quotation marks. That's a bunch of garbage. Because you can go to Johns Hopkins or the Mayo Clinic and you're not going to live to be 105 and eat like Dick Cheney eats. Something is going on there. Now, remember, that man is worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. He built a compound that's actually blocked from Google, so you can't even look at it. That's the kind of power that murderous maniac has still got.
Hmm.
But what's probably happening in the more, and I think about this too. I made
He
another great
built.
point
Hold
about
on.
the interview.
Dick Cheney built
Yeah.
a compound that Google can't even see.
Yeah, it's blocked on Google. You can look it up. Type in the Dick Cheney compound and try to find it on Google. It's blocked. Yeah. But think about this for a second. I made this really great point in an interview about this subject years ago. So why don't presidents go to Area 51? We've been hearing about Area 51 forever. We've known it was there. They lied and lied and lied about it. We get presidential daily schedules. We know where they're going. We know when they're going to a base. We know everything they do. So why aren't any of them going to we have of course, the Dulce base in New Mexico too, but why aren't they going to our most secret bases? Why didn't even Donald Trump? He's got Tucker Carlson asked him about aliens. Why didn't Trump take one day and go, you know what? I'm going to solve this whole thing. I'm going to go check out Area 51. Why didn't Obama, 2 terms, who was asked about aliens all the time, and John Podesta wanted to release all the records. His chief of
Right.
staff wanted the stuff released. Hillary Clinton was fighting to get it released. Why didn't Hillary and Bill just go to Area 51? Why don't they go to the base in Dulce, New Mexico that we're all hearing about? We know it's there. It's not a secret. Why aren't they going to Wright-Patterson? Why aren't they going to the places where all this stuff is simply at? Just do a tour. Why didn't Clinton just go, you know what? I'm going to go to Area 51. I'm going to check the whole thing out. I'll come back and talk to the American people. No, instead he goes to Rome and he gives that retarded speech and goes, well, Virginia, if there's aliens, they didn't tell me. Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Virginia. If there's aliens there, they didn't tell me about it. Really, Bill? They didn't. What do you mean they didn't tell you? You're the goddamn president of the United States. All you've got to do is land. Dollar in the swear jar. Sorry, Paula. You got to land Air Force One on that massive Starship runway they got by the biggest runways in the world in Area 51. Why? That Starship runway there. Go land on that thing and say, hey, what's in that building? Hey, I got this guy that was out here talking about working on this base and aliens and spacecraft. He says they're all in S4. I know where S4 is. I saw it on a map. Let's go check it out real quick. You know what they'll do? I'll tell you what they'll do, just so everybody out there knows. They'll say, sorry, Mr. President, you're not allowed to do that. No president goes to Area 51. No president visits Area 51. Trump didn't. Biden didn't. Obama didn't. Carter didn't. Ford. We can go on down the line since that base was opened up. Nobody goes to Area 51. No president goes to the Dulce base. None of them go to any of our secret bases. Why? They go to bases all the time. Why hasn't one president said, you know what? I'm going to go out to Area 51 and I'm going to solve this whole thing. I'm going to fix it. And to this day, it's like, oh, we just developed some jet technology there. There's nothing there to see. Well, then let us see it. Show us if there's a plane you can't show us, that's fine. But show us, give us a tour of the base.
Hey, T.
If there's no aliens there. Yeah, go ahead.
Man, we've been on here for 3 hours and 15 minutes, partner.
Oh, yeah.
Listen.
I'm wearing out listeners.
Listen, no, it's okay, brother. We love you, man, and they're still riding with us. They come, they go, but it doesn't matter, man.
Bless their hearts.
Listen, man, I want to wrap up with talking about you.
Okay.
I want to know how you're doing. How are you doing, T?
Very hopeful. Obviously, I've been collecting tons of information for the big battle ahead. I'm hopeful the CIU is finally going to get this thing moving. Our goal right now is to get the Attorney General to take the action necessary to get me the hearing to get me out. That's all we're really waiting on right now. The investigation's concluded. They don't need anything else. They've made it clear they don't need any more documents or witnesses or anything.
So we have to put pressure on the AG.
We're in limbo.
We have to put pressure on the.
We're in limbo, yeah.
Okay.
I want to do it respectfully because I think she's a good woman and I think she has a good heart. But yeah, there's no momentum going forward as far as we can tell. And so I'm just sitting here in limbo doing time. And I never asked for sympathy, but I've had to have my chemo increased from the immune disease, and I'm still fighting our medical insurance company in prison. They're not going to treat anything, and so I could get care when I get out, but I'm not going to get it in here. So that's making things a lot worse. And again, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me, but it is what I'm dealing with.
How you doing
So
on how you doing on food? You eating
yeah,
good and all that stuff?
yeah. My baby girl just bought me what we call a secure pack. So she got me fish and she got me some healthy Bigelow flavored teas and she got me some protein powder and vitamins and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm taking the best care of myself that I can. The prison diet is atrocious. There's no fruits, no vegetables, nothing like that, and that's really deleterious to your health over the long term.
Sure.
And but yeah, I mean, I got enough calories, and I have amazing people like you out there fighting for me, which has been such a blessing. And for everyone listening too, if you're just dropping in, listen to me ramble, or if you care about this issue or you don't, I still want you to know I love you and I care about you. And I appreciate your positive thoughts and your support and all the amazing messages that we get. And all of you that wrote the governor, the AG, the Attorney General of Michigan, I want to thank you too, because that means so much to us. We've been so blessed with so many wonderful people.
Who else you want to thank? Anybody else?
Oh my God. I want to thank the University of Michigan, Professor Dave Moran, former Professor Bridget McCormick, now Chief Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court, Attorney Imran Syed, all the students at the clinic there. I want to thank everybody at the CIU, Pat and Val and Robin and Lori, and obviously I want to thank the Attorney General and the Solicitor General, Attorney General Dana Nessel and Solicitor General Fadwa Hammoud, and everybody approving innocence. Bill Branham and Carla and Ziva and obviously Dave Sanders, who's been just so amazing. I could never put it into words. And Senator Carl Levin, I love you. To his daughter Kate, thank you. To Congressman Andy Levin, his nephew, I cannot thank you enough for fighting for me, Andy. Senator Bida, Senator Chang. I mean, so many amazing people. I'm going to fit him. Steven Spreitzer. I don't have time to thank them all, but every one of you, I just want you to know what this means to me. And know how grateful I am for you. And my baby bear, you're the most amazing person I've ever met in my entire life, and I would be nowhere without you. You're my everything, and I can't wait to come home to you and our little pepper cats and our beautiful home in the woods. And for everybody out there fighting in the cause and the struggle, keep fighting. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Educate yourself on every possible topic, because information is the greatest weapon you will ever have. And love each other, care for each other, forgive each other. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah,
Bless you.
man.
Bless your
Yeah,
family.
thank you, man. Paula's a tough woman, dog, for real. And
She's
and
amazing, dude.
yeah, I talk to her on the side every once in a while. And you're talking about an
Yeah,
individual that came in, right? That came into this
yeah,
situation. She didn't grow with this situation. She came into this situation not. I don't
yeah.
think. I don't think she really expected um or knew exactly what this type of lifestyle really entails.
Oh
And
no, no,
and
she's
it's
a
it's
she's a warrior.
it's
Yeah,
very overwhelming. And when you start
yeah,
to find out, because her and I text on the side, she'll send me an email or
yeah,
something, and she'll tell
yeah.
me like,
Oh, she loves you. She's crazy about you.
yeah, she's like, everything
Yeah,
just takes so long, and I'm like, that. I
yeah,
mean, that's what it is. There's
yeah.
nothing that takes weeks. Nothing takes weeks. It's all takes
No, it's a
months,
wearing down. Yeah,
years.
yeah,
And that's what I told her.
yeah.
I'm like, I used to just put emotion in and forget
Yep.
about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
and
Yep.
and and
Wait
wait
months
to
for a
hear
response.
wait to hear back on it, because it'll drive you
Yeah,
crazy sitting there waiting. But T, man, I
yeah.
man, I
And
love you,
Thomas,
man. I love you,
I love you
man.
too. And that takes me back to something. I want people to remember. Look what Thomas did. He did time. He educated himself. He learned the law. He fought. He got out, and look what he's doing right now. He's one person, and he's making a huge difference. And Paula, just so everybody out there knows, she was a million miles from who she is right now. Just a year and a half ago, she was working for a bank. She had a quiet life in a little farmhouse. She had her dog, and she would go to bed early at night, read, and fall asleep, and wake up in the morning and start all over again. And she reached out to me, I'm sure having no idea what lay in store, and said, I saw your story. I feel bad for you. Is there anything I can do to help? Or do you just need a friend? And she came into this no idea what she was doing, and she decided one day, you know what? You don't belong there. This isn't right, so I'm going to help. And she just started fighting all on her own. I didn't have to say, honey, I need you to get me out of here and start begging and pleading like a lot of guys do. I just called one day. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to get you out of prison. She was serious. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay. I was laughing and joking like, hey, 1,000 lawyers and $1 million couldn't do it. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm going to do it. And next thing you know, she's building my Facebook page, and she's changing her Facebook page, and she's researching and contacting groups. And in this year and a half, she's had me on 10 podcasts, and we have more lined up. We have 2 documentaries in the works. 2 movie crews are working on this case. We have dozens of media interviews and newspaper articles, and now she's linked to hundreds of organizations around the world, and we're helping those people now. We're promoting other people's cases. So people in a year and a half, this innocent little girl with no knowledge of this subject has become a champion now, and people are turning to her for guidance. People have been fighting for years, are turning to her and asking her questions, asking her for leadership. So that's who you all are, and that's who you can be. It doesn't take a bunch of money, and it doesn't even take a lot of knowledge. It just takes that drive, that willingness to say, you know what, I'm going to go make a difference. And she's conducting rallies now, and they're
Yeah.
turning out great. Our rally that she organized all by herself was bigger than the rally that was backed by a Michigan senator
Yeah,
that
no,
they
she's a
had the other day,
beast.
which she also went to. Yeah, hers was way bigger, like 3 times bigger.
Yeah, she's
And
a
I'm not
beast.
saying that to brag.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm not saying
no.
that to brag.
That's
Just I want you
kudos.
all to know that that's who she is. She went out there and did this, and every one of you can do this.
Yeah.
You can develop so much meaning and so much purpose in your life if you want to. And even if you have a job, a career, kids, duties, disabilities, there's something you can do to make a difference. And now we're linked to all these amazing people, and we can help so many people now.
Yeah, you can't
And
see it, but I
yeah,
have the picture that I have up on you on the site is the one where she's standing in front of you. You got your arms around her. So
it's my little baby bear. Yeah.
that's the picture that I have up, on the site as we've been discussing this whole time. So no,
Yeah.
she really is, man, and I want to give her a shout out on the air, just for that because she's a trooper, and there's so many women out
Yeah,
there,
absolutely. Yeah.
that are doing that for their men because they believe in
Yeah.
them. They know that the system
Yeah.
is fucked up, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep,
I
it
just
is.
I want to
And there's
applaud
a lot of
them.
great women out there fighting. And men fighting for their women too. The numbers, fortunately, there aren't as many women in this situation, though they are out there.
Men
But
too.
some of these women,
Yeah.
they give and give and give and fight and fight and fight. And you girls, you are stormtroopers. You guys are warriors. And Paula, she's just a straight up warrior. And but you know what? People remember something. She wasn't when this started, but she found that thing inside of her,
That's a good
and she
point.
called on that strength. Yeah, and it's been hard, and there have been. I'm sure she's shed a million tears. But you know what? We're winning, and eventually I'm going to be going home. I mean that's most important part of the battle is over. The acknowledgement of my innocence. I'm going to be coming home. Paula had a lot to do with that, and 34 years of previous effort wasn't able to accomplish as much as she has accomplished just by herself with no experience in this because she just said I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it. And plus we have the technology now that lets us do this. We can come together as a big global community, and we can share our ideas. We can network together. We can help one another. I love what LinkedIn does. I wish we had that for us, where we could promote each other and help each other and bring people in to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could find a way to build something like that.
Mm.
And Paula's created a site, New Era, which is doing really well.
Yep.
And we're promoting platforms from a variety of different organizations. And I don't want anybody to misread anything said during this program today. We love and support everybody. We will help anybody that we can help. And join us. Please join
Yeah,
us in the battle.
it's for anybody that's listening or listening in the future or whatever. Our discussion has nothing to do with where we're judging anybody or we're saying that anybody's better than the next person or anything like that. All we're doing is just talking about the facts of what's going on and the repercussions
Right.
of those
Right.
facts. That's all we're saying.
Exactly.
Everybody,
Exactly.
everybody has the right to live how they want to live, and I'm the first person for that. However anybody wants to live, listen, the spiritual world is much bigger than me. I don't know. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Amen.
All I know
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
that when your impressions are starting to push on to me and I'm being told
Right.
that I have to live that way or I have to think that way or
Right.
I have to talk that way,
Exactly.
and this is what's happening and this is why
Yeah.
we discuss these things. But
Right.
I know Temujin now. I mean, we've had probably 10 hours of conversation plus all the work that I've done on the side,
Yeah.
interacting
Yeah.
with
Thank you.
Paula. This man is a very caring man. He's honest as honest can be, because that's what convicts are. We speak the truth, and as I explained to people, T, like when you went on your 2 minute break, we talk fast and we talk super fast, and we're very straightforward because our conversations are condensed into 15-minute phone calls.
Right.
We don't have
Right.
time to beat around the bush. We don't have time to
Yeah.
paint a pretty story. Listen, these are the facts. This is what it is. This is what needs to get done.
Right.
And a lot of
After
times
a short visit. Yeah.
a lot of times it comes across as rude or harsh or blunt or anything like that. But Temujin's not that way. I'm not that way. We're not
Right.
that way. Convicts aren't that way. Convicts just want
Yeah.
people. We get more frustrated because nobody wants to listen and nobody wants to believe us
Yeah.
because we've been labeled as
Yeah.
convicts. We've been labeled as criminals.
Right.
You know.
Yep. You know what we see the most, and I want everybody to understand this, is we see people picking up on a phrase and not a message. So, for example, when I say I don't like the fact that Biden shut down that pipeline, right away some people will go, "Oh my God, he supports oil. He's horrible. He hates wind power." No,
Right.
my argument for logic for all of us, for the whole nation, is this: we need alternative sources. Develop the alternative sources, and then you can restrict the other source. People, we need just to use simple common sense. We're too reactionary to everything. Oh my God, he
Woo.
said something about transgenders. No, what I said is we shouldn't be taking 3-year-old children and putting them on enormously powerful hormones.
Man,
But I
listen.
also said in that same message, grown adults can make their own decisions.
When I sit here and I say I don't agree with Biden, I'm automatically a Trump supporter and I'm automatically
Exactly.
racist.
Yeah, exactly, which is insane.
It's
Because obviously,
insane.
he said things like you can grab a woman's vagina and get away with it when you're wealthy and powerful. I don't agree with that or support that. But I like the fact that he told China, you're going to pay taxes because we pay taxes to you.
That's
Those
right.
are tariffs. People got mad about that because we were kissing China's rear. Again, that doesn't mean I think Trump's the greatest human being that ever lived. But the important part, people, when you listen to these programs, whether it's me or anybody else, look at the message. And my message is not, I love oil, I hate natural energy. My message is, we're not there yet. You're not going to get rid of cars in 10 years. It's not going to happen. So let's put a bunch of money into solar and wind and fusion, which is really getting kicked to the curb and should be getting looked at a lot more than it is. And safe nuclear energy and even other sources. Remember what happened to switchgrass and alternative fuels. But we're not doing that. We're saying get rid of the oil now, forget the devastating effect on the economy, crush ourselves financially, and we're still not going to be building solar panels in the U.S. because guess what? China already makes the best ones way cheaper. And they have the rare earth minerals you need to make them. So quit pretending when Biden's like, we're going to build solar power plants everywhere. No, we're not. We're not going to make solar panels here. It's not going to happen. So let's look at other technologies. Let's look at more efficient engines until we're to that point. Whether it's the transgender issue or the racial issue or anything, don't get mad that I said this racial garbage in school is hurting kids, because it is hurting kids. Teach kids to love each other.
Yeah.
Don't
Teach
them
kids
to
math
hate
and
each other.
science. Just stick to math and science, history,
Thank
things of
you.
that nature. Just stick to that.
We have the worst students in the world. Kids in clapboard schools in Africa with little chalkboards
You're
are
right.
way better than our kids. This
That's
is
the
true.
truth,
Yeah,
man.
it's
That's the
true.
truth.
We are the worst. We are getting beaten by every poor, broke, do-nothing nation because the kids there value education. They don't have time to teach the kids critical race theory. So in those little African clapboard schools, those kids, they can't wait to go to school. It means everything to them to have an education. And guess what? They go on and they learn math, and they learn science, and they become doctors, and they become lawyers, and they become engineers, and a lot of them leave those poor villages, and they come back and they build water mills, and they build schools, and they build hospitals. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Not telling my grandson he's a little racist monster who needs to die.
Yeah.
So people take the message, don't take the quote.
Yeah.
And what we do is we take the quote. Did you hear what so-and-so said? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So
Emotions.
that's
Emotions,
that's
man.
where all the division, the hatred's coming from. Yeah, emotions. You
Emotions.
look at the
And
message,
that's been my message is the government's put us in an emotional state to react emotionally because it's scientifically proven that when you're in an emotional state, you're working out of the left side of your brain. Your critical thought process comes out of your right side of the brain.
Right.
So, T, man,
you're
this
not
has been
focused
a
on the person that's screwing you.
yeah. This has been a great conversation as always, man. I'm gonna check
Yeah, I love
back in with
talking.
you. Hopefully the next time I check back in with you, man, we can sit down and have lunch together.
It's on me. You have my word. Dinner's on me. If you're a beer man, the beers are on me.
No, brother. The first
I
dinner's
forgot.
on me.
I forgot. No beers.
First dinner's on me, partner.
Oh, come on, dude. After all you've done for me, I can't let you do that.
No, there's no question. First dinner's on me. I'm buying you dinner, man. I can buy an innocent man that just did 37 years in prison dinner, partner.
All right, I'll make it something cheap like a cheeseburger.
Whatever it is, but it's on me. And then I'm going in for lobster. You saying it's on you? I'm going in for lobster.
Well, we might do surf and turf then.
You better get it,
I'm okay with that.
T man.
Everybody out there, you be good, be
Yep.
strong, love each other, forgive each other, bless each other. We will be victorious.
Amen, man. You take care of yourself, T. And if any reason you want to get on, say something, whatever, just get the word to me and I'll set it up, partner.
Okay. My love to you and yours. Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.